Have you ever just felt totally stuck in a loop with the kinds of people you attract? It's got to be one of the most frustrating things we deal with. Well, today we are going to dive into a psychological concept that gives a really profound and, honestly, maybe a bit of a jarring reason for why this keeps happening.
You know that feeling, right? It's like another relationship starts, another friendship, and you feel like you're just watching a rerun, just with a different person. It's the same old dynamics, the same issues, and always that same disappointing ending. It is absolutely exhausting, and it can really make you start to question everything.
And look, the easiest thing to do is to just chalk it up to bad luck, right? You tell yourself the universe is out to get you or that you're just destined to draw the short straw when it comes to people. But what if that's not what's happening at all?
What if, instead of being some kind of cosmic punishment, this whole pattern is actually a message? What if every single person you're drawn to is, well, a reflection, a mirror, being held up to a part of yourself that you just can't see?
Okay, so let's get right into this mirror idea. It comes from the brilliant work of the psychologist Carl Jung, and it's what we're calling his harsh truth, but trust me, it's ultimately a really empowering one.
So here it is, the central idea, straight from Jung himself. You attract what you haven't integrated. It's so simple, but man, is it deep. It basically suggests that our attractions aren't random at all. Instead, we're like magnets, pulled toward the unhealed or unacknowledged parts of our own minds.
Now, to really get what integration means, we have to talk about something Jung called the shadow. And no, this isn't some evil twin. It's just the parts of you that are in your psychological blind spot. You know, it could be your insecurity, your anger, maybe your neediness. But it can also be positive stuff, like ambition that you push down because someone told you not to be bossy as a kid. It's all the things we don't want to admit we are, so we just shove them into the dark.
So here's the real kicker. Those intense, can't get them out of your head attractions, a lot of the time they have very little to do with the other person. They're actually messages. It's your unconscious mind using another person to wave a giant flag and say, hey, look at this. This is a piece of you that needs to be seen.
I know this can all feel a little abstract, so let's make it real. Let's look at a super common example of how a hidden shadow need can secretly be the one driving all your relationship choices. So, on the surface, consciously, you're telling yourself and all your friends, I just want a healthy, equal partner. That makes perfect sense. But what if deep down, hidden in your shadow, there's this unacknowledged belief that your real value comes from being needed by someone else? See, that creates this huge internal conflict that then plays out in the real world.
And this is exactly how that toxic cycle gets started. First, your unconscious scans the room, not for an equal, but for someone who needs saving. Then you step right into that rescuer role. And for a little while, it feels great. That hidden part of you, your shadow, is getting the validation it's been craving. But because the foundation is so unhealthy, it just creates this codependent pattern that, eventually blows up, leaving you right back where you started, looking for the next person to save.
And listen, I need to be really clear about this part. Seeing this pattern is not a reason to beat yourself up. This is not about blaming yourself at all. It's about swapping confusion for clarity. It's about gaining this deep self-awareness that finally gives you the power to actually choose differently.
Okay, so if we can see the reflection in the mirror, what are we supposed to do about it? How do we actually break the cycle? Well, this brings us to what Jung called the path to wholeness.
The biggest mistake people make is they try to fight their shadow or get rid of it. But the more you try to push it down, the louder and more disruptive it gets. The real goal here is to just turn around, face that part of you with genuine curiosity, and simply ask, what do you need? What are you trying to tell me?
And that, right there, is what integration is all about. It just means consciously owning that need. You say to yourself, okay, a part of me really needs to feel valuable. That's a totally valid human need. And then, instead of unconsciously getting it by saving somebody, you find healthy ways to build your own self-worth. Through your work, your hobbies, your friends, you learn to give that feeling to yourself.
So, we'll leave it with the one question this all points to. The next time you feel that intense pull towards someone, or maybe when you're just looking back on your past patterns, ask yourself this: what is this reflection trying to show me about myself? Answering that question honestly, well, that's the first and most powerful step you can take toward finally breaking that mirror and choosing a whole new path.